Coming up, Race Through New York starring Jimmy Fallon is now officially open at Universal Studios Florida. I ate a lot of food from Volcano Bay, and I have a lot of opinions about it. And plus, we're going to talk about a new patent that was found that could hint towards what could be coming with either Mario Kart in Super Nintendo World, maybe Fast and the Furious, Supercharged. Who knows? It could be a number of things. So, from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida, this is the Universal edition of The Diz Unplugged. This is episode 123 of the Diz Unplugged Universal Edition. The Diz Unplugged Universal Edition is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts at helping you plan the perfect universal vacation. Visit them on the web at www.dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of the Diz Unplugged Universal Edition. I am your host, as always, Mr. Craig Williams, and today I am joined alongside by my co-host, Mr. Ryno Clavin.
Hello. I wasn't sure if it was going to be a Ms. Chandler Bong situation.
No, for any of the people listening out there, I don't want to get you confused about our gender, so that's why I am adding in
I do sound like my
them.
mother, so it's okay.
You do. Depending on what you're talking about, you could either sound like a 6-year-old girl or a 22-year-old man.
Yeah, I was like, don't you dare.
No, I forgot. When you're doing video work or audio, you always take off 10 years.
Yeah. Yes.
Camera adds 10. It's something like that. But welcome to this week's episode of the Diz Unplugged Universal Edition. We've got a big one for you. Lots of stuff happened last week. I don't want to say that a lot of stuff has happened this week so far because, well, it's only the start of this week, this Monday.
Okay. I'm not sad it's Monday, but...
Hey, everyone's working towards the weekend. Whatever that means.
God, I don't have a follow-up. Sorry.
Yep,
I was trying to think of a tune to sing you.
Well, it's a shame that that's not a song in itself, right?
I don't know that song very well enough to give you some lyrics.
That's fine. We all know the chorus at least. So
I don't know it.
Okay, no, that's fine. We don't have to. We can instead just quit the awkward banter and we can actually talk about what we came here to talk about, and that is Universal Orlando.
Yes.
So, Yes. Okay. Well, before we get started on our normal coverage of everything we're going to talk about this episode, you might have heard in that intro that happened so long ago that I mentioned the word patent.
Not Patent Oswald.
No, not Patton Oswald. I mentioned a patent. So, the Orlando Business Journal, as they usually do, had another discovery on the U.S. Patent Office. I wish it was my job to just sit around and every day go and check to see if Universal posted more patents.
All I'm thinking about now is the Universal, the Orlando Business Journal needs to have some sort of catchy phrase like, "It's our business to know your business." I don't know. Something.
Yeah.
Sorry. I thought that was the job you were then going to say you wanted to be the catchphrase guy, but that's me. I'm the catchphrase guy. You're the patent guy.
It's like we've patented finding patents.
Yeah. The patent clerk.
Exactly. So it's actually very simple to do this. Anyone could go online and find these patents at home if you have the time. I guess it's because we're not really investigative reporters that we don't go in and go into this deep of research with this stuff. But it's all very fascinating. It can get you into a wormhole of just endless patent limits, looking at what's happening with Universal, what's happening with Disney. But we're going to stick with this one. The new patent that the Orlando Business Journal stumbled upon was dubbed the Amusement Park Ride Tunnel. Yeah.
I'm looking at this photo. It not only sounds exciting, it looks exciting.
Yes.
I said it in the least excited voice I could.
Yes, and so, of course, right now we are showing you an image of the tunnel patent that is what this whole thing is based on. And for those who are listening to this, I will do my best to describe it right now.
I know what this is for. Now, okay, I know what the rumor is what it's for, but now looking at it, I bet I know what this is for.
I have a better feeling about it too. But so for everyone listening, let me just go back and describe what the picture looks like. It is of a car driving into what appears to be a tunnel, a tube system. And there are cameras pointed at it because basically what is going to happen with this tunnel, it's going to be a ride system that includes the tunnel, a vehicle ride path in the tunnel, and a projection system to project images onto one or more walls of the tunnel. So basically, you go into a tunnel and you're going to see more projections, which is pretty standard universal.
I mean, essentially, this is the tour, the tram tour, the portion of the tram tour with like Kong and Fast and the Furious in Hollywood. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of how I see it. So that's where we can start taking this multiple different types of ways. One of the things that they brought up in there, and that's always going to gain traction, so it makes perfect sense why they did want to bring it up. But Orlando Business Journal mentioned the fact that it could be used in, as a warp tunnel for Mario Kart, that type of attraction, which I understand because based on the diagrams, it
looks like that.
Yeah, it absolutely.
It's got the lip. It's got the tunnel lip.
Yeah.
But I mean, let's think about it. Where is Fast and the Furious being built? And, what was the building like before? And if the building is anything similar to how Earthquake functioned, there's a tunnel in there too, is there not?
Yeah, but that's all been completely ripped apart and destroyed. Okay. So we can't think of it in this way as, let's look at what disaster and earthquake were before, and now they have to somehow fit Fast and Furious into that mold. But let's look at the details of Fast and Furious Supercharged. Right now, we don't really have anything except we know that Fast and Furious Supercharged is the last segment on the Universal Studios Hollywood Studio Tram Tour. And it is a giant warehouse, and the tram at the end of it will drive into it. And actually, during different portions, it's kind of, you're boxed in. Each individual tram has their own little room, and you are kind of encapsulated in. You can see into the next room, in front of you, behind you, if you look hard enough. But you're
this
in
is not how I experienced it.
You did the VIP tour.
Yeah, so I was on the literally the one size tram. So this is interesting to me.
Yeah. So, but it's like it's a very immersive experience because it feels just like your tram seeing this, even though all the trams on the tour are actually seeing the same thing. And it just keeps moving into different, I believe it's 3 different segments. The first one is...
Well, you're in the warehouse in the first part.
Yeah, you're in the warehouse with...
and then the party happened.
Yeah, the party. And then do you just move into the next main one after that? I felt like there was one more. It doesn't matter. We're getting into too far into the details in there. I am, not Ryno.
No, I don't remember it as well as you.
Yeah.
I have a video of it somewhere, though.
I've done it twice. So I did it once with Kylie during my honeymoon, and then when my dad and I were there last June. That was the last time I got to experience it. Didn't he? He loved the tram tour. Thought it was a nice, enjoyable time. I don't believe he made comments on Fast and Furious Supercharged as part of the tram tour. But yeah, so basically, the warehouse just houses this giant tunnel system where on both sides of the tram, you will be seeing stuff, and then you move into the main showroom, and that's where the big chase actually happens. And when you're in this chase, it actually feels like your tram is moving extremely quickly. It feels like you are racing right alongside. And so it makes sense in this system. A lot of the stuff that can be done with the tunnels, with the projections and stuff, it's to make you feel like you're going very fast with kind of tricking your mind with this technology. My big question is, for this patent specifically, and this is my ignorance on it, I guess, but how long, once you file the patent, does it actually take to turn around into the attraction? Because I feel like this is something before they started building this attraction, they would have filed this patent.
Well, does it have a file date on it? Did they include a file date in the article, or did they just find another patent that had been filed? Because if it had been filed, they don't. Because if they don't know the date, then this could have potentially been filed like 2 years ago. We don't know.
I'll be honest. I did not. They don't have it listed in the article, but when you do look up the patent, it does tell you the file date.
Okay.
I just didn't yet.
Okay, because if this was filed since that building has been constructed, obviously this isn't for that because they already knew what they were doing because they built a whole nother extension onto the building. So obviously they already had a ride system in place. You wouldn't start construction on something and then invent what you need to go in that thing.
Well, thanks to the magic of post-production and us not doing this live, I was able to stop and actually search for this patent finally myself. And it took me a while to find because first I went to the U.S. Patent Office, as I always do, and nothing was coming up. Usually you can search the keyword Universal City because that is who files the patent. It's Universal City Studios out in California. And from there, everything pops up. And when I searched that, there was nothing here. So then I had to go back to ground one and go straight to Google and just type in amusement park ride tunnel, which was what they said it was described. And the World Patent Office ended up pulling it up. The World Intellectual Property Organization was able to bring it up and find it. So I guess maybe this wasn't just filed in the U.S. This was filed internationally, and that's why it was harder to find for me. Well, I guess simpler, actually, if I would have just put in the keyword right away. But the interesting part of this is it says that although it wasn't published until April 6, 2017, this was actually filed all the way back on September 21st of 2016. Sorry, I said April 6, 2017 is when it was published. It was filed on September 21st, 2016. So we're talking over 6 months ago that this has been filed. So because it's done internationally, I guess in my head for that, I would think, okay, well, maybe that's a stronger case for Mario Kart because, you know, they might have to file an international patent to be able to get this work done in Japan.
Yeah.
And so that's going to open before the other Super Nintendo worlds out there. So they need to get it done there first. So maybe that falls in line with their timeline. And Fast and Furious Supercharged was already open in Hollywood at that point. But I mean, maybe I really don't know. I really, really don't know.
Well, that's the fun of speculating.
Yeah. So, regardless, it doesn't seem like anything that's like too out of the ordinary. So when I first read this, the first thing I initially thought of is in the season Nemo with Friends, just because we recently did it, when your clamshell is moving in the one tunnel where Crush and Squirt and Nemo, and they're all moving, and they use projections on the wall, and it starts to really speed up, and it makes you feel like you're flowing really quickly through the EAC. And so, and then even with Fast and Furious Supercharged, it seems like this technology is something that's it's been around. It's not anything like groundbreaking, earth-shattering. So
yeah, maybe it's just new to the international parks, and maybe that's why it is an international patent or something. I don't know.
It could be, but you know, I do see why people really believe that it's going to be something done for Mario Kart, because parts of it went into too that, you know, the ride track, you know, it's with the tunnel system and everything. It's not just like drive into a tunnel and you go. There's actually the ride track has the ability to move, be altered with it too to make different effects go off. And so it's really tough. But you know, I think the one thing is that we should accept at this point, which clearly some people out there haven't yet, there's no doubt that there's going to be a Mario Kart attraction.
Oh, yeah, of course.
We don't need new patents to come out to make it seem like it's more or less going to happen. It is already, it's said and done. There will be a Mario Kart ride. No questions asked. The question is, what will they use technologically to make it the coolest ride ever? And
I
that's
just
the
don't
question.
know. Yeah, we just don't know yet. Who knows?
So, but it is happening. We don't need more patents revealed, patents show off this. It's happening. And we just have to wait
Accept
for it
it
at this point.
and move on.
Exactly. But one that'll kind of tie us into the next topic that we'll go into, which is the grand opening of Race Through New York starring Jimmy Fallon. And
Oh yeah, how'd that tie in?
it was, I'll tell you how it ties in, because we're talking about literally tunnels that will have video projections on them. We hear it all the time. Are there too many screen rides at Universal? This, that, and the other. We finally got the answer. The theme park insider, Robert Niles, asked Jason Sorrell, who was the lead story person in Universal Creative on Race Through New York, starring Jimmy Fallon. He flat out asked him, is there too many screens? Or is Universal just using too many screens anymore? Is it screen overkill? And do you know what the answer was?
No. I don't know the answer, but I also think it was no.
No, the answer was no, they're not. It's actually very similar to what we've said in the past before. It's, for Race Through New York starring Jimmy Fallon, they wanted to do this ride. They wanted to come up with the idea for it. There just was no other way to make it a reality without using a screen-based simulator.
Yeah, I mean, how else are you going to send an audience to the moon?
Or underwater.
Yeah.
Anywhere. So...
Or smell pizza.
Or smell pizza. That's 4D for you. There's, as long as they're creating rides that are doing these unimaginable feats that just can't be done practically in any way, the only real way to do it is screens.
I just hope they stay more on the Spider-Man side of it, or even Forbidden Journey.
Yeah.
Those two are prime examples of how you beautifully integrate screens into a physical world.
Yeah, there's no doubt with Fallon. Fallon is your classic, I will almost say, a mall simulator.
Oh, no, you might have had these because you're from the north too, but do you know what Mom is?
No.
It's so Jordan's Furniture. Have you heard of that chain of furniture stores? Mm-hmm. It's very, very big in Massachusetts, but and maybe New Hampshire, but they're these like furniture shopping was a different experience where I was from, and it was a massive they'd be like a warehouse.
Yeah.
And you go in and it's not just furniture, it's where all the IMAX screens were too. So when there was only 60 in the United States or whatever it was, most of those were from Jordan's Furniture. They were the ones who had started to really make it like out of the science museums and into the casual person's hands. And so you'd go in, there'll be like trapeze artists, Jelly Belly giant sculptures, whatever, all this weird stuff.
Yeah.
While you're looking for furniture stores, and some of them had the IMAX screens. The other one had Mom's, which was this like motion simulator room that is exactly like what Jimmy Fallon essentially is. It was this movie theater type scenario where the seats move and shake you around and look at the screen and stuff like that.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's Jimmy Fallon is that. It's you're sitting in front of a giant IMAX screen in a shared theater with everyone else, and it is one way of doing it. I more or less prefer the Star Tours method, which I would almost base more on like a classic simulator now. I like being completely immersed in the environment. Yes, the screen is not massive. It doesn't make you feel like you're in this world.
But
you are literally
like that
only
space shuttle feel. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that they are saying, okay, instead of having to create this giant world to put you in, we are going to show you.
Let's bring you to that world.
Yeah, it's very classic Disney sense with the Omni-Movers. The Omni-Movers are developed so you can't see 360 degrees around. So that way you see straightforward what Disney wants you to see. And I like that style of it. This one, this style does feel cheap-ish to me because it's like, okay, it's just we're watching a movie and it's shaking as you're sitting in a movie with 3D, as Blake Shelton so eloquently put it. Did you watch that?
No, what are you talking about?
Jimmy Fallon took Blake Shelton on a tour of Race Through New York starring Jimmy Fallon, and he I mean, yes, it was in good fun and joking, but he basically just ripped it apart.
Oh my God, I have to watch this
Oh,
video.
I don't know how you missed it. It was so hilarious.
Did he do it on his show, obviously?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was on night 2 of the show, and he just had all these little quips like, I just don't know how you did it. You recreated this office building, and you made it so exciting. Like just laying on the sarcasm with it, and they're sitting like, there's roller coasters all around, and look what they give you. They give you a movie theater with 3D. Like,
I love that he's kicking him down a couple notches.
Oh yeah, no, it was really funny. We will watch this right after. No one else gets to join in with us, but yeah, it's screens, they are there. Universal acknowledges it, but while the attractions are coming up with, while they can only be done via screens, that's how it is going to be done. So we are just going to have to accept it. But let's go into the grand opening now of Race Through New York, starring Jimmy Fallon. And so we're going to kick this one off, actually, by showing you a little bit of a video of the grand opening of it. That I saw while I was there, and the only reason I'm going to play it is because I'm pretty sure Ryno has no idea what happened, and so I need to catch him up to speed on that. So for those of you,
Sandra Bullock.
For those of you listening to this, you can find it at youtube.com/WDWinfo, and for everyone watching, here's a look at that grand opening moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, Universal Orlando Resort proudly welcomes Jimmy Fallon and his Tonight Show family!
Why did you say it? Oh, okay. I thought you said it. All right.
Scissors. Oh!
So this is pre-guest.
Is that me? You want? Do I have time to do a speech or no? This is a big moment. I gotta take this time and just enjoy this. Honey, can you get this seat out of my pocket? Thank you very much. Thank you. That's the wrong pocket. Thank you. Oh, here's Bob from the Minions. I know you. The bigger deal. I mean, your dad has a ride. I know Bob is from the Minions. Thank you guys for coming out. I can't believe this is really happening. We have been working on this ride for 3 years, and we have a Tonight Show ride. This is really happening. Tonight Show. The Tonight Show is all about fun and positivity and laughter and putting a smile on your face, and that's what this ride is all about. I'm so proud of it. As a kid from upstate New York, I never imagined I'd even be a talk show host, let alone have my own ride. It just goes to show, keep on dreaming big, and anything is possible. There's so many people to thank: Steve Burke, Ron Meyer, Tom Williams, Mark Woodbury, Bill Davis, the entire Universal creative team, Industrial Light and Magic, everyone that works at the parks, everyone that works at the ride operators, the dancing panda, the ragtime gals. I've been here to work. I see what these guys do behind the scenes. Nobody works harder than these guys. Everyone at the Tonight Show: Lauren Michaels, Gerard Bradford, Mike DeCenzo, Steve Higgins, right here. The legendary Roots crew. Dave, Nicholas, Stephanie, Cindy Lou, Courtney, Miles, Chris Artaro, Kelly Powers, Katie Hockmeyer, Claire, Amber, Rebecca, my mom, my dad, my sister Gloria, of course my beautiful wife Nancy, my daughters, Winnie and Fanny. I love you guys so much. I want to thank Steve Allen, Jack Parr, Johnny Carson, Conan O'Brien, and Jay Leno. This ride would be without you guys.
Oh, wow. You dance clean.
Of course, all my fans and the fans of The Tonight Show. I want to thank New York City, the most exciting city in the world. I hope this lives up to your reputation. Like life, this ride is unpredictable, it's fast, and it should be the most fun. I wish you all the smiles and the fun you could possibly have on this earth. And now I'm going to take a giant pair of scissors and cut this ribbon. Here we go.
Let's get a drum roll, please. Let's start that countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, I'm... premature at this point. Like Arsenio Hall protest. Who is Gary?
Just one of his side people. Okay, so that was a look at the actual grand opening moment of Race Through New York starring Jimmy Fallon. A lot of fun, a lot of excitement. They opened up the park a little bit extra early, so that way guests could get in and get a very far away glimpse at everything that was happening, because they were basically all down all the way by the Macy's building, and then you just had to be more and more important as the line went down to get a closer spot of all the festivities. It was actually a very strange event. Like, you know, people want to know about the grand opening and how it went, all that. Well, during the day that we had to like tour around the building and see everything, nothing really happened that we haven't talked about before. So during that part, they gave us time to go in and check out the Ragtime Gals. I did get to see the other show where they perform boy band hits and then do the history of rap.
Oh.
So our show that we saw them do included the lip sync battle and
they were just singing.
They were just singing other songs at the beginning, but yeah, they did a boy band medley and history of rap. I much preferred that show to the one that we saw the first time that we went in there, and so it's cool to see that. And the best part though, one of the Ragtime Gals, I kept looking at him, and he had the lowest register, and so I just kept looking at him over and over again. I'm like, where do I know this person? Where do I know it? And then I went back and looked at a video. He's also a Dapper Dan.
Oh,
and
really?
The last time I recorded the Dapper Dans, I had video of him singing.
Oh, that's funny.
So they sourced some of the best talent that they could find in Orlando to get it done. But yeah, so didn't really learn anything new about the ride to tell you all before. The only thing we really did learn is that Universal itself still doesn't have really that big of a grip on what the virtual line system is, because they had someone from Universal Creative come out and try to talk to us about it, and like, oh, well, virtual line, everything's different, and so now you come into this building and you wait here, and then basically after it was all said and done, then the PR person had to come up and say, well, no, actually virtual line is everything before you get inside the building. Once you're in the building, it is technically the queue, not a virtual line. So we're just changing how you queue and making it a big, wide open area instead of just your standard line. So, yeah, they're all in though, and that's kind of why I wanted to talk about the grand opening of that. Not so much that it happened, which it was cool. It was great that the Roots were there. The guy who plays Gary, hashtag the Panda was on there. Higgins was on there. So it was very cool. I thought the speech was moving. It was awesome seeing Jimmy dancing with his daughter on stage for the Today Show. And yeah, I saw Carson Daly too.
Why don't you tell me this? Did he have his nail polish on?
I could not see. He was very far away. He did not come anywhere
near
near
us.
us.
Is he a correspondent?
The Today Show, yeah.
Oh, the Today Show. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he's a correspondent for the Today Show. They're one of their entertainment ones. He's like the one that they keep on payroll just because they feel bad at this point, I believe. They
Still waiting for TRL to come back.
Yeah, they wish they could pull like a Ryan Seacrest, but they'll settle for a Carson Daly.
The poor man's Ryan Seacrest.
There you go. That should be on his business card. The next one that he gets printed up. But yeah, so it wasn't anything major with that. The big thing to announce was the cluster that happened after the ride officially grand opened, because unlike Kong, which when it opened, they weren't allowing express. They were just kind of doing everyone goes in the line. This, they did allow express.
Interesting.
Now, I
didn't know that was going to be an option with the new type of.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No, that's during tests. It was all virtual line. You had to do the virtual line system in order to ride, but they did build the other lines too. I think we mentioned it on a show. They have an express line. They have a line for standby, which they may or may not use. And what happens if people don't show up during their time and they can throw in a couple extra people, then they will do that. And they were still testing and adjusting all the way through. So things were changing. I know that as with media, we were allowed free express all day, and at Fallon on the grand opening day. I'm not quite sure if it was also regular people there too. I wasn't going around and prodding and asking. But what happened was, due to the virtual line and then people that did have express that were allowed in, which I guess that could have also been like the VIP park executive, stuff like that, using it that day, it just became this backed up mess where in the downstairs museum portion, everyone was like just cattled up waiting to go upstairs. And then once you were upstairs, you just couldn't move around. You couldn't.
That kind of defeats the entire purpose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see moving on. That was just on grand opening day. I have not been back since grand opening day to really experience it more.
How many times? What do you want to? How many? You gonna go? I don't know how to say. It's a one-time wonder.
No, it is, but part of our job is experiencing it over and over again.
I mean, I'll go on again. Eli hasn't been on it. You're going to get friends that, for some reason or another, are going to want to do it.
I will not do it every time I'm in the park. I will do it as much as I can to see how it holds up, to see people's reactions getting off, because that's the other thing too. I'm not hearing that clapping, that excitement getting off, and they still haven't perfected the actual loading process of it yet.
Yikes.
That you might remember us complaining about it. It's just even worse, apparently, now that it's grand opening. And I had one friend tell me that she was waiting 10 minutes for them to dispatch the ride once
In
she went
her seat.
Yeah.
Wow. 10 minutes. Leash.
Yeah, so it's open. You can go do it now. Don't know if you can. what I'm most excited for is the last portion of what we're going to talk about
I'm
today.
excited to hear about this because I heard you were doing it, but I wanted to wait till the show to hear about it completely and entirely.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. So, for those of you out there who follow along with our YouTube channel, you may have seen a vlog that I posted, as well as a blog that talked about the Volcano Bay food, because one of the big surprises for us was during the first day of our little media event that we had, we got to sample a good amount of food from Volcano Bay. Not all of it. They're touting the fact that they're going to have 60 food items at Volcano Bay. So we just got to do a small sampling of it. And
Wait, 60 meal items or
Yeah.
60 food? Because I'm like, well, how many food items are at a theme park?
that is the tough part. I never got the
Like,
clarification.
we're going to have popcorn. We're going to have crackers. We're going to have donuts.
Exactly. I would include that in.
Yeah, okay.
And I would probably even include beverages in as well. Specialty beverages. Not
okay,
like
like-
saying Coke,
Like a
Diet Coke.
margarita. We're going to have the tropical twist, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm making up names. But,
Exactly. So, got to try a good amount of it. I would say about 20 food items
Still on
and
me.
drinks. But if you want to watch that vlog, you can go over there and watch that after this. If you're listening, you can check that out. I just want to take a couple minutes to talk about the actually good things that I had and the
Yeah,
worst.
tell me the
'cause-
best.
Yeah, well, the best. The first amazing thing that I had.
Oh, it was amazing.
It was amazing. It was the Hawaiian ribs. So I know what you're thinking. Ribs. Been there, done that. Still a classic, but how can these ribs be so good? Well, the thing about ribs are if they're not overcooked, if they're not too dried out, if there's plenty of meat on the bone, and then you have a nice rub and a perfect sauce to go with it, that balances off with that rub, then that is the ideal rib. And my goodness, they found maybe one of the best ribs that it was melt in your mouth. And I'm very particular about my ribs. I can't just get ribs
I'm
anywhere.
assuming this is a quick service location. I'm assuming they're all quick service locations. I can't imagine there's going to be a sit-down restaurant at a water park. What do you think?
I can't speak genuinely on what the style of the restaurants were. It's one of those questions that, while I was running around trying to taste all the food, I never took the time to actually ask anyone who worked there. And we all knew the food was coming. They were trying to do this presentation to get us all excited about it, think that we weren't going to eat it, but it was right in our itinerary that we were going to eat it. So everyone was just waiting for that. The 4 restaurants that will be there will be the Kahola Reef Restaurant and Social Club, which to me, saying restaurant and social club, that sounds like it's a bar and restaurant.
Yeah,
So
interesting.
I believe that will be full service. And remember, they're saying Volcano Bay will be a way to spend your entire day. It's completely immersive.
I mean,
wraps you into it. I think it will be full
I dig
service.
it if there was a sit-down restaurant. Because for me, it adds to for the people maybe like you who don't really like being in the water as
Yeah.
much. But this seems like something like I could lure you there with. Like, oh well, let's go eat and dine and and then do a ride and go. Or
Yep,
something like that.
That's a great point. I may not enjoy going swimming, but I may enjoy going to get fat while I'm at the water
Yes.
park to keep me from wanting to swim even more. So no, that's a great point. There's also the Wakawawai Eat, bamboo and feasting frog. So it's very possible that
frog.
it's going to be that mixture of quick service locations as well as the full service restaurant. Again, I'm sure some other person actually got the answer out there. I was in a food coma.
Do we know?
Because I was running around
Okay,
so
I'm
much.
probably jumping ahead, but do we know of any collectible tiki like merchandise?
No, not yet.
Okay.
But another thing I really enjoyed there was the mango barbecue pulled pork slider,
that looks
which
good.
it's not really hard to make a great pulled pork sandwich. So all you need is a nice flavorful meat, and I do enjoy like a nice mango slaw on top. The sweet balances with the saltiness, and that's exactly what this did. And it was served with a grilled piece of pineapple on it.
Ooh.
I literally
Put on your pulled
Just
pork. Do not put it on your
shove it.
pizza.
Pineapple? You don't like the grilled pineapple on pizza?
No, I hate pineapple Hawaiian pizza.
I love Hawaiian pizza.
I'm with Gordon Ramsay. It has no place on pizza.
No, it absolutely does. It is probably my favorite pizza.
Good, you and Eli can share pizza together then.
Maybe we will. Maybe we will.
Gary!
Sister's my new mother.
Is it me or is sister looking a lot hotter? Where that came from, but
Another thing I had that I really enjoyed was the blackened mahi, which was mahi mahi. I was feeling
the
up
fish
to the
so
challenge.
nice they named it twice.
I was feeling up to the challenge, so instead of asking for just the mahi, I figured why not double the portions,
do
ask
the
for the
mahi
mahi.
twice.
That's I can't remember the exact line from it, but that's a house bunny joke.
Oh no,
you know?
I got it. I'm thinking about her standing on the vent right now, screaming.
So this mahi was served with bonita mash and black beans, and it was just a good quality piece of fish. In mahi, unless it's going bad, usually doesn't have that fishy flavor to it. This absolutely didn't, and it was seasoned just
mahi.
perfectly. It had a nice solid sear to it, so it just, you had to kind of poke through the crisp, but then the
I love
fish
that.
just flaked off, and as always, I just hope they're able to
Recreate this, replicate it on
Exactly.
a consistent basis. Yeah,
Exactly.
That's my fear of hearing all these things.
But like the mahi, I'd expect to get that, and the ribs, I'd expect that to get more at a restaurant. I know quick service can do ribs, but then they usually come out terrible, like Flame Tree Barbecue over
like
at
really
Disney.
dry.
Exactly. I would rather those be at a sit-down restaurant, so you can take the time to really perfect it. Of course, I had to get in on the sushi game there, and I had the
how was
poke
the
bowl.
sushi? Ooh, poke bowl.
Yeah, it was actually really well. I don't know what their source for sushi grade tuna is, but it was
Sushi at a water park. Ooh, this is getting exciting.
no, it was wonderful. It was tossed.
Okay, you know what I really like so far too is that you've got a good balance of so like the pulled pork is a very filling
Yep.
thing, and the water parks at Disney, they all have stuff like there is a pulled pork sandwich. There's like it's a lot of heavy stuff, but something like sushi or a poke bowl or something like that, they're things that when I have my top off and I'm eating, I won't feel terrible about myself when I'm done eating.
And that's the thing. We knew that they were going to have island-inspired food mixed with also theme park fare for those who aren't as adventurous. And, they didn't serve us the theme park fare that we were having there, just the island food. And nothing I would say that I walked away with feeling like, oh, I would feel disgusting eating this at a water
And then
park.
going swimming, yeah.
If anything, I sat there and I was like, you know what? It's really great that they are taking this food that might even be better that you'd get at some, some of it was so good that I would expect that not even at a theme park at all. This is so good, I would
okay.
expect it anywhere.
Setting
So
the bar really high.
the fact that it's going to be at a water park,
Yeah.
even better. Of course, I had to try the tropical libations because
Some good ones there.
they had 4. Okay, this is difficult to say. They had 3 alcoholic mixed drinks. Then they had their version of POG, pineapple, orange, guava juice.
Okay.
And then they had some frozen drinks that they were able to put rum floaters on, too. I didn't bother with the frozen drinks with the rum floaters.
That's like
It's
Eli. I keep talking about Eli in this episode, but this seems like something that's going to be right up his alley because he loves the frozen drinks with the little floater.
Yeah, but for me, that's like go to the store, get an icy, bring it home, and throw a little rum on top. That's all it is.
Yeah.
So
I'm with you. I'm in your boat. Yeah.
So I actually did. I wanted to try the mixed drinks. I like the idea of tiki drinks. Unfortunately, I am huge on bourbon and vodka.
I was gonna say I seldomly like the taste of them. I'm
Yeah.
realizing.
And I'd like a good
Dark and stormy.
Yeah, I love the dark and stormy, especially the one over at the Trader Sam's Grog Grotto. Absolutely love that dark and stormy. That's about where my tastes are for tiki drinks now. I feel like as I've tried more and more, the sweetness is just really starting to be overkill. So I was pleasantly surprised with the guava rumma, which was Mount Gay rum, and then it was also
I'm assuming guava in there somewhere.
it was some guava juice, pineapple juice, and then Sprite was in it too, and then one other ingredient, pasal. I can't read it. It's on my computer, and it's really too far away. But yeah, it was. You can't read it either.
No, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to say that. P-A-S-S-E-A.
Passau?
Passe?
Passe?
Passe? I don't even know what that is.
It was something. So this drink, though, sorry for all that. It's terrible radio. The drink, I thought it was going to be overly sweet. Because the first two I had
guava,
before.
yeah.
The first two I had before that were overly sweet. The Sprite just cut the guava and the pineapple and the rum completely off and made it refreshing.
Okay.
And just really delicious. And so that would be my recommendation for the tiki style drinks that I had. And then they have their own beer that is probably brewed by Florida Beer Company that does all their other in-park beers, but this is called the Volcano Blossom, and it is a pilsner made with 3 different types of tropical fruits in it.
Ooh.
So it was just really it was refreshing inside in air conditioning. So I can only imagine how great it would be.
Well, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I think, I am a huge fan of like grapefruit IPAs, tangerine IPAs, fruity IPAs that kind of it balance the bitterness with the sweetness. This was done with the Pilsner, so I think it just opens up this to a lot of people who might be a little bit afraid to try a specialty craft beer like that. It adds in the nice fruit flavors to it, but with a very light beer. So that way you're not like, oh, it tastes strong.
Yeah.
Which, bitterness does not equate to strength for people who don't know that much about beer. Mm-hmm. It's not like the more bitter it is, the stronger it is. And the more darker it is, that doesn't mean the more alcoholic it is. Those are all old wives' tales. But
those old wives making up their tales.
Yes, they do, don't they? And then I'm not going to spend much time talking about the things that were just terrible.
Just tell me the worst thing that you had.
Coconut curry shrimp.
Why was it bad? Was the shrimp just terrible?
No, the shrimp was cooked like it was supposed to. Their curry that they have 2 different types of coconut curry. They have it with shrimp. They have it with chicken. The chicken was okay. Just because, the chicken, I felt like there was more flavor naturally in the chicken than there was in the shrimp.
Yeah.
But this curry sauce had no thickness to it. It was basically like they poured coconut water into a bowl of rice with some veggies and some shrimp, and that was it. It was nasty. For desserts, the guava tapioca pudding, which I actually like some tapioca. I'm not like against tapioca pudding.
Yeah,
I like guava. It didn't work though. I guess this is a big like South American and Brazilian type dessert that they make. Mm-hmm. Just something about the guava and the tapioca together. It just like, I still have that taste in my mouth.
Oh, really?
And the one drink that I deemed way too sweet to ever consume ever again was the Volksfire Punch. That was made with rum, with falernum, which is a type of like orgeat syrup. It's a sweet syrup, usually made with almonds. So
it's in a lot of that syrup that's in a lot of tiki drinks.
Yeah, so like Kylie would be disqualified from this now. It would kill her. And then it was made with agave, pineapple juice, and Sprite, and it was
probably the agave and the pineapple already sound like when the second you start putting that stuff in there, I feel that pain in my throat.
And then putting the syrup in too, which I think it just
I don't like when they add syrups to drinks.
Just took an overload. But yeah, overall, I was so pleasantly surprised with the food. I had a lot of other stuff. They had this. They're gonna have 8 different flavors of ice cream, and they'll serve them as a giant twist. A lot of people weren't happy with the twist.
Oh no, an 8-flavor ice cream twist sounds like a dream to me. If you've ever been to a Menchie's with me, I can't decide on the flavor, and I just get them all.
I thought it was wonderful. Other highlights was the coconut shrimp that I got to try there.
You just said that was terrible.
No, not the coconut curry shrimp.
Okay.
Coconut shrimp.
Okay. They went so wrong when they added the curry.
Fried shrimp.
Okay.
Fried shrimp was great. They had just a lot. They had a arugula salad that was just wonderfully tasty. had nice big hunks of like feta or goat cheese, one of the two
God,
in
did it
there.
have watermelon in it?
It did had watermelon in there, but it was still
Just
good.
not into that.
Yeah, I know.
I don't like to make my fruits and vegetables together.
Yeah, but
They belong together.
well, I'm sorry. I thought it worked well. I think Volcano Bay, regardless of what your views are on, stop calling it a theme park because it's a water park. Are the rides going to be innovative? Is everything going to work out with virtual line? Who cares about that stuff? I think the one reason right now that I'm excited to go is to have more of this food. So
Oh, well, that excites me right there alone. So
good.
I like good food.
I'm glad it excites you because it excites me too, and I hope it excited all of you out there. I know this wasn't the most of normal shows. It's just that I felt obliged to tell people about my experience. I had a bunch of people asking what it was actually like, what we covered there, and the short answer was, besides Volcano Bay food, not a whole lot of stuff. So I'm sorry that it wasn't more intriguing, but don't blame me. I'm just the messenger. But thank you guys for sitting here watching, listening to it, hearing some of our thoughts on it. And thank you, Ryno, for sitting here and amusing me with this too. Mm-hmm. So, of course, head over to disunplug.com for our show notes page where you can find links to everything we discussed in this episode, plus so much more on every other show that we have here on the Dis Unplugged podcast network. Make sure you're liking us on Facebook and following us on Twitter. Make sure you're subscribed to us on iTunes as well as YouTube, and you are leaving all types of feedback. The more positive, the better, but you know what? We love laughing at the bad ones, too. Except for Ryno. I don't think he's even looking at comments anymore.
They've broken me.
Yeah, they've broken me. So, hey, you know, it's you look at celebrities, and the first things they say, they admit they don't look at their feedback. So, otherwise, you start getting those.
Unless you're Janet Jackson, then you're just singing the song.
You start getting those Joey Tribbiani reviews where you can't bother looking. So, just keep leaving them anyways. We'll watch. Thank you guys so much again. We ran out of time for resolutions, obviously, but we will be back again next week for another episode of the Dis Unplugged Universal Edition.